Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome back. It's your boy, Sean McLaughlin at Options Sean on Twitter X. Today is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, the after times. Boy, um, what can we say about what the market's doing right now? I kind of came into this whole tariffs, whatever, what did we call that yesterday? Liberation Day, Liberace Day. I kind of came into it thinking it would be a little bit of a overblown kind of nothing burger, but I was wrong, and that's okay. I am certainly not a global macro economist by any means. Certainly not a tariffs expert. I'm not going to pretend to be one. But yeah, I kind of thought that there was a lot of worry heading into that event, and typically when there's a lot of worry heading into an event, tends to be overblown, and then it's less underwhelming. But right now, the market is telling us that it is very concerned with what was announced yesterday. So let's, before we get into any charts here, let's just drop the old disclaimer here that everything we discuss here is for educational purposes only. I show you what I'm doing with my money, and I hope that you learn something from following my process and my way of thinking. So let's just jump into a chart right here. Let's start with the VIX. If there's any sign of hope, if there's any good news anywhere to be found today, is that VIX never pierced, at least not yet, never pierced the intraday highs that we saw on March 10th and March 11th, nor has it pierced the spike that we saw on December 18th. Now, that doesn't mean that everything's great and everything's, the world is great, but it tells me that the market is not that concerned about what's going on. I mean, yes, it's concerned, right? Sorry, there seems to be a little glitch with my camera. I don't know what's going on, but we're back now. Um, but the fact that we did not break above 30 in VIX gives me hope. Gives me hope that maybe the worst is behind us. Maybe. I talked with the team last week. I can't remember if that was on the morning show or not, but I spoke with the team last week, and in those meetings and in my discussions with the analysts, I said, "Hey, the S&P and the Nasdaq could make new lows here for this cycle, and that wouldn't necessarily put VIX back to new highs above 30." And so far, I'm right on that. It doesn't mean anything. Who cares that I'm right? But basically, my thought was we need to see a really, a big leg down. I mean, further from here. I mean, we need to go into, where people are starting to get really scared before we see VIX break above 30. And the fact that we aren't above 30, again, gives me hope. I'm not saying the low is in, but I'm saying the low might be near. Okay? So that's where my head's at right now. I think the low may be near, and we have a lot of day left today, right? We could certainly roll back over it and make some intraday lows. Just pull up a SPY chart and a QQQ chart. Just give us a little reference. My fingers aren't working. There we go. So here's SPY, and guys, I put little annotations here on my chart. It's more for me than anything, but I highlighted some levels here. 5170. Let me zoom in here. 5170 or 551 and 70 cents technically is where we get a 10% correction in the S&P, which we are below that now. We are officially in correction territory. Okay. 490 would be, what people traditionally like to call a bear market. This would be 20% down from the highs of right around 613. I just put those really there for my reference. I have, long-term investments, an IRA, a Roth IRA, a SEP IRA, and I make the same monthly deposits every month. But when we're below correction territory and when we're below bear market territory, I tend to step up my deposits. So that's kind of why it's there. And I don't know why I'm having this camera issue, Gene. Maybe if I switch my camera, that will help. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna switch my camera. Um, it's not as good of a camera, but it's a camera that hopefully won't turn off on us. So we'll figure out what's going on, guys. But for now, there's a camera that works. All right. So as you can see, we're in correction territory with the Q or with the S&P. more solidly in correction territory with the Qs, being below basically 486, 487, which we're well below right now. We're in correction territory in the Qs and might be getting there, getting closer to bear market territory in the Qs. We're certainly closer there than we are in SPY. None of this means anything, just things to be aware of. If you're a dollar cost averager like me, maybe you want to step up your contributions a little bit in your retirement accounts at these levels. All right. So enough about that. Let's talk about positions. We only had one closed position since we last spoke, and this was MWA Mueller Water Products. This was a long calls trade. We bought some August 30 calls for $1.60 debit a couple weeks ago. And we got stopped out. What did we get stopped out? This was late last week. Got out for 75 cents. And hey, I'm feeling pretty good about our exit because we are lower even more since then. We paid $1.60 to get in. We got out for 75 cents. Not bad, right? I say this every time and I'm a broken record, but when I do a long call trade, typically I put that trade on assuming that if I'm wrong, it's a zero. And I'll size my position in a way that if it does become a zero, it's okay. It's maybe a 1 to 2% hit at most to my total portfolio. And so anytime I lose less than zero, it's not a win, but it's certainly better than what I had, budgeted for, so to speak. So getting out for 75 cents, feels like a win right now, I guess. But that's the only exit we've had since the last week. And we're only updating one stop here, mostly because our long positions aren't really moving up so much. So there's no reason to rise a trailing stop. And our bearish trades are just now starting to work pretty well. ITB is a bearish position we have on. Now this one has April options expiring this month in April. So we need to be aggressive with our stop. And so from now until either we hit our profit target or we get out, I'm going to be lowering my stop on this position aggressively. Right now, I'm moving my stop to 97. This is a 90. We're long the 95 puts and we're short the 90 puts for $1.70 debit is what we paid. Now I've got a resting order, a good till cancel order out there to sell this spread for 340, I believe I don't have it in front of me, but I believe I'm trying to sell for 340. The details are in the blog post. We put it up, but I do have a resting order to sell it. Hopefully it gets there. But from now until expiration, I'm going to be looking at my stop every day. And I'm going to be using basically the 3 to 5 day high as my level. I'm going to use a little discretion as always. But seeing how, this, 97 level kind of corresponds with yesterday's high, this stop for 97 will probably stick for a couple more days. Hopefully ITB continues going down and we'll have opportunities to lower this stop as the position goes in our favor or we get hit at our profit target. But ITB right now is the only position I am updating my stop on. And so far this one's working and our bearish positions are working, thankfully, right? Now we do have a bunch of new trades to talk about. Since we last spoke. And just a little caveat for those of you first timers here. I don't put the trade details on these charts just yet. If you want the full trade details, the whole trade plan, why we got into this trade, what we like about the setup, what strategy we're using, how we're managing risk, how we're sizing the position, where we might stop out if we're wrong, where we may or may not take profits if we're right. All of those details are in the detailed blog posts that I post for every trade for All Star Options members. If you're not a member of All Star Options and you want access to this, please click the link in the chat there. I got a link in there to subscribe to All Star Options. Get in there, get involved, get these trade plans, get involved in our online chat community, which is only available to members. We'd love to have you involved. It's a great community. And at times like this, it's an even better community because we're all talking, we're all sharing ideas, we're all supporting each other. I think that's very, very important. All right, so we'll go through these trades here. Tesla, we put on a delta neutral trade here in Tesla. We're betting that Basically, this range here from 320 on the upside to 220 on the downside is going to hold for the next couple of weeks. So far, so good, in spite of everything going on over the last 24 to 48 hours. In spite of all that, our Tesla trade is looking pretty good so far. But we're in a delta neutral trade there in Tesla. The next new trade we got is Comstock Resources, CRK. This is a bullish position that we put on so far. I mean, geez, I like what it's doing today in this ugly, ugly tape. Too early to call this thing a winner. Of course, we're just getting started. But this is a bullish bet we've got in Comstock Resources. My new friend Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, has been aggressively buying this with his investment vehicle. And so if he's been aggressively buying this stock, he must know something. Not that I'm saying that's the reason I'm in the trade, but it just gives me a little extra confidence that maybe this chart pattern resolves higher. All right, next up, Enphase Energy. This also is a bullish bet that we put on. So far, it's not working, but I put the trade on. I did kind of a two-pronged approach to this trade. Again, all the details in the blog post, but I put on a two-pronged a bet in this trade. Basically, I put it on and I said it in the piece that we're trying to catch a turn here, and the turn might be sloppy. So we're giving this thing some room. We're going to be patient with this. We may be early. That's okay. But this is a bullish bet. We're trying to catch a turn in Enphase. We have our reasons. And again, all that's in the blog post. So check that out. Last up is a typical or an atypical trade for me. Something I don't do very often, but it's actually a combo trade between silver and gold. We're doing a pairs trade. Now, I sent out an email last night, my free email, which, by the way, if you're not getting my free emails, you could sign up for those. Also, in the chat, there I got the link in there, the free options newsletter. I wrote about it last night about pairs trades. And I put on a pairs trade in gold and silver using options. And basically the bet I'm making is that either gold is overbought here, it's due for a pullback, or silver is going to play catch up to gold, because typically these two instruments trade, I don't want to say in unison, but very highly correlated. And as we've seen over the last couple of months, there's been a very noticeable divergence between silver and gold. Silver is still kind of stuck in this base building going on here that started basically in October, still stuck in this base, whereas gold, starting mid to late January, broke out of its base and has gone significantly higher. So the bet I'm making using a pairs trade is that gold is either going to stop, it's either going to reverse or just kind of hold here for a little while, and or silver is going to catch up to gold. And if one or both of those things happen, we can make some money. If both things happen, we could make some good money. But again, all those details are on the blog post, are in the blog. So please check them out. Go to allstarcharts.com, go to the members section, go to the options section. There you will get the detailed trade plans for the silver and gold pairs trade, as well as everything else that we've got going. All right. Lastly, I like to just kind of typically share this updated stops chart. Sometimes we have 4, 5, 6 names here. Today we just have one, just like last week. We're only updating one stop. And again, that's ITB down to 97. Hey, that's all I got for you guys this week. Let's hang in there, right? We're waiting to see this. I mean, could today be the bottom? We don't know. We got a long way to go. S&P is still down, I don't know, 3.5%. So, long way to go. I mean, boy, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if the S&P were to have a big, red to green reversal day today, where we finish green on the day, woo, boy, if that comes on monster volume, that would be a very big signal that perhaps the low is in. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's a possibility, but even then, we'll still need a couple more days or another week to get a little distance from that and see how the market follows through, if there's any follow through. So we need to see I'm a big proponent of this. We need to see a big volume flush out day, which we might be getting today. And then over the next, I don't know, 4 days to 10 days, we need to see some follow through. We need to see the indexes up again, 1 to 2% on very high volume. If we get that, to me, that's the signal that we could start acting like bulls again. But until that happens, um, we got to stay nimble. We got to be tactical. We need to take quick profits in trades. We need to be putting on a variety of trades, not just bullish bets, but bearish bets and neutral bets. This is the time where options trading shines, when you get to use all the tools in your toolbox to take advantage of all the different opportunities to, if anything else, just increase our batting average and knock out some small wins in a tricky tape. All right, guys, if you have any questions about anything we've talked about, please hit me up at info@allstarcharts.com. Any emails there will get routed to me. If you want to get involved in All Star Options, there's the link there. It's also in the chat, a very easy clickable link in the chat. Same with the TrendSpider promo. TrendSpider is the charts, provides the charts that you guys see in these videos. And I love their platform, very easy to use. And if you want to use TrendSpider, click the link in the chat and use promo code Sean50 and get yourself 50% off a subscription plan with TrendSpider. All right, everybody, hang in there. The weekend's almost here. Better days are ahead. Until then, be well, take care. We'll see you next time. Adios.